Hey Denver, it's Bree. I enjoyed my conversation with documentarian Sara Terry this morning so much that I wanted to share a little bit more. You're about to hear an excerpt of our interview about Mobile Home University, a Colorado-based company that teaches mobile home park owners how to squeeze every last penny out of their tenants. It's based in Colorado and owned by a couple of real scumbags, Frank Rolfe and David Reynolds. And I think that's all you need to know. So you brought up Frank Rolfe and the Mobile Home University, which is he owns a bunch of mobile home parks across the country, but he also, quote unquote, teaches other folks how to purchase these mobile home parks and basically squeeze the residents dry of any possible anything while not like raising their rent, but not helping them fix basic things.
Oh, no, you don't. And it's not your obligation because you don't, as a park owner, you only own the land. You don't own homes. You don't have to do that. And it's so funny. I just mentioned Frank Rolfe when I was talking. I thought, oh, dear, we hadn't talked about Frank yet. I just did an interview about an hour ago with somebody who asked about Frank Rolfe. So it's like, no, wait, I didn't talk about that with Bree yet. Yes, Frank Rolfe runs Mobile Home University, and he teaches people how to make the least investment, like drain pools, cut down trees, and raise the lot rents and just raise them enough. It's a whole science, quote unquote science of like, go into a community, find out what the apartment rental is for a 1 or a 2 bedroom, raise your lot rents to just beneath that, because to show, to sort of stay under what it would cost to rent. But of course, that's just gone completely haywire because that doesn't work either. But it's a whole, and these rooms are filled like with hundreds of people. He does the seminars 6 or 8 times a year.
How did you get access to, he was fine with you filming Mobile Home University, which was surprising to me because
Totally.
If for some reason I was a person in that room learning how to screw people on the margins of society, I really wouldn't want my face on film. But he was teaching this. Why did he let you film him?
Well, I reached out to them and said I was going to do a documentary about the changing ownership landscape of mobile home parks. And they were like, yeah, sure, you can come. And Frank and his staff at the time, at least, it just felt like all press was good press. So it didn't matter. They were, and he's a nice man. Nobody was mean to me. Nobody, I wasn't reviled. He announces it, like in front of the class. That I'm in the room and I'm making a film. So I make sure I have all the releases I need for this. I don't know if Frank is still letting people into those seminars, but when I left, his manager was like, oh, you can come back anytime because everybody really liked you. He goes, some reporters have come and they're not very nice to people, but you could come back. And I was like, good to know.
After you see my film, you might feel a little.
But they should be nothing to object to for them. I don't trick or trap.
Oh, fair.
Anybody.
Yes. No, you don't. You show what's really happening. But
yeah,
you also show that he runs these seminars where they treat folks who live in mobile home parks like a zoo. He pulls up in a tour bus full of people looking to buy mobile home parks and just stares at people and looks into their homes. And I was just, oh my gosh, I was just squirming. I was so uncomfortable and so mad that these people who live in mobile home parks were treated that way.
It was my first shoot, that one. And I was in this very careful space of like, I had needed access to the people in the class and didn't want to offend anybody. So I was not, I was just maintaining a line. But there is a moment in the film where you see I talk to a resident who's looking out the window and wants to know what's going on. And that's actually, that scene, some of that footage is what John Oliver licensed and used in his, like 9 million people have seen the piece he did a couple of years back on it. They licensed some of the footage from the film and used it to like illustrate that point.
The homes of some of the poorest people in America are getting snapped up by some of the richest people in America. And luckily, there have been no problems whatsoever. Except I'm obviously kidding, it's going terribly.
But Frank, before I ever met him, Frank Rolfe had already made his very infamous, comment that people who live in mobile home parks are like customers in a Waffle House. They're chained to the booth. They're chained to the booth and can't go anywhere. So, that's Frank.